And I would just like to add one thing, and that is new business. New business isn't there, so I'd like to add it just after regular business. So it'll be the new item 7 before correspondence. Is that okay with everyone?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Then the approval of the agenda as amended for April 1st, Economic Development Advisory Committee. I would need a mover. Sherry, and seconder, Ron?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all in favor? Not hearing any objections, we'll move on to any declarations of conflict of interest for today's agenda. Okay. Again, approval of the minutes. Excuse me, we have 2 sets of minutes to approve. I guess at the last meeting, I thought we did, but apparently we didn't approve the minutes of February 4th. So that will be the first item to approve the minutes of the February 4th Economic Development Advisory Committee. Could I have a mover, please?
Sure. I'll move them.
Emily, okay.
Yeah.
I was there.
Seconder, Sherry. All in favor? Okay. And then the second is the minutes of March the 4th, Economic Development Advisory Committee, so last month's minutes. Again, we'll need a mover and a seconder. Mover.
I'll go.
Sherry and Ron again. Thank you. All in favor? Okay, so we'll move right into our delegations, and today we have Rob Day. Rob is the Manager of Business and Entrepreneurship with Northumberland County, and he's here to let us know of the services that they have to offer and how they might apply to our municipality. So I'll just pass it over to you, Rob.
All right, well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here this morning before this long weekend. I'd like to first start out by just acknowledging the immense challenge COVID-19 has placed on all businesses and really in our communities, and just want to say hopefully better times are ahead for all of us. Today I'd like to just take a few minutes and touch on a few areas of interest relating to the programs and services of the Business and Entrepreneurship Center Northumberland, and we call that the BECN in short. Specifically today I'd just like to talk to you a little bit about who we are and what we do in case you don't know. Talk a little bit about some trends, some service changes, a lot of it due to COVID-19, and then a couple of highlights from 2020. Before I finish, I'd like to also mention a couple of our existing programs for existing businesses, which we're trying to promote, and it'd be great if you guys would share that information once I give you the little overview. So a little bit about me first. I think that's always important. I'm a serial entrepreneur. And in the past, I've owned 4 businesses, including co-owning a downtown retail store in Coburg for 10 years, which was quite an adventure, let me tell you. I've also been fortunate enough to work with more than 650 business owners in the past 13 years in my role at the BECN. So it's been a lot of fun working with all those different people. So a little bit about who we are. Who are we? What do we do at the BECN? So it's a program primarily funded by the Government of Ontario in Northumberland County, and has existed for more than 20 years in Northumberland, and we work in partnership with chambers, municipalities, BIAs, and other economic development partners to help develop small business. Our clients mainly fit into one of 3 categories. They're either thinking of starting a business, they're starting a business, which really means in their first year and a bit, or we classify them as an existing business. And in simple terms, we work directly with the business owners, helping provide knowledge, skills, expertise, best practices, and help motivate them. In an average year, we work in detail with between 350 and 400 business owners. So a lot of interaction with business owners throughout the county. So what we do can be better defined by some of the programs and services. So I'd just like to talk about a few of those. A key service that we do provide is business planning, of course. We help people consider factors when thinking about starting a business. We want them to be able to consider the viability of their idea or their concept. And our motto is that we want them to go through some type of planning process so that they know all the information and they can make an informed decision moving forward. We certainly see a lot of heartbreak when we meet business owners and they come to see us after a certain period of time, and they sit down with us and they say, you know, my business is not going well and it's not working and I'm losing lots of money. And we ask, you know, what type of planning did you do? And when they tell us they didn't do any planning, it's just really heartbreaking, because, you know, if they had done some planning and a good amount of planning, you know, we'd assume that they would be in a better position. So we certainly want to see people at the thinking stage. That's where we can help them, you know, help them make the right decisions. Another thing we do a lot of when we talk about consultations and meeting with business owners, we assist them with strategy and operating plans. We talk to them about their opportunities or their challenges. We really are a sounding board. I should note, though, that if individual business owners have issues relating to legal or tax or accounting, we always refer those type of subject matter to professionals, because we just don't have the expertise to that, of course. Third little area, well, a significant area I'd like to just mention is we provide a lot of coaching and mentoring. This is very popular with our clients because they have access to our experienced staff and our pool of volunteer coaches. And our volunteers that help with our different programs are existing business owners within Northumberland and or retired business owners. And Sherry knows a lot about that because she's been involved in our business coaching program. Aside from the things I just mentioned, we also provide a lot of ongoing programs. We really believe that an ongoing relationship with business owners over a longer period of time is more positive for them. They always know that we're there. So we have a number of different programs that target startup people, youth, women entrepreneurs. We have a co-working space. We have an ongoing digital Northumberland program. And then we have our formal business coaching program, and now a new part of that, which is called Summit, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. So some interesting trends. I mean, obviously, it's been a very unique last 12 months for all of us, including us here, as we try to serve the small business community. But all of our startup consultations are down 50%, which you can imagine. A lot of people have decided that it hasn't been the right time to look at starting a business. But conversely, our repeat existing consultations is up by more than 300%. So just to put that in context, in the last 10 months, we've had over 395 consultations with business owners. And our definition of a consultation is not just informational, it's getting into more specifics about, you know, opportunities, challenges, things that they may require. So it's really been a big shift for us to move into that. Normally, the BCN works with about 55 to 60% of our clients would be startup clients. And now it's probably about 30% of our clients are startup clients, and the rest now are existing business owners. So obviously COVID's had a big impact. A January survey, top two, this is just of interest, the top two business owner priorities were sales and finance. As we know, the financial pressures of COVID is really significant for a lot of businesses, and digital enhancements. One thing COVID has done, I think you guys would agree, is that it's really forced business owners to embrace the digital world, and really they need to move into this or improve in their digital sort of offerings in order to compete. So what we're talking about here is their social media marketing, their website, their e-commerce, social selling. So another trend we see is right now it's been fairly busy with people looking to buy existing businesses, and even people from outside wanting to come in to buy businesses. So there, as you guys know, there's even been a little bit of activity in Brighton on this front. So it's kind of nice to see that some of the existing established businesses are looking to expand, and they see this as an opportunity during COVID. So I think that's a positive thing. So I want to talk a little bit about how we've changed, because we've all been under this whole COVID cloud. We've definitely here, when we think about our services, we've really moved everything to online, and we use platforms and tools. So what that means is if we have someone who wants to start a business, we can now put them into a platform that's got training and education and videos, and we have two choices that we can put people into, which is really helpful. Excuse me. And these platforms have been developed over the last number of years. So they're really have excellent content. Most of all our resources now are available in PDFs, fillable applications, and documents. And this ensures our messaging and our resources meet accessibility standards, and they're current and consistent. All our consultations, of course, are all virtual. All our coaching is virtual now. And even our education, we've accessed a number of different opportunities as far as videos and webinars and seminars in partnership with the chambers, and we continually push those out to business owners. Interesting thing is we started about a year and a half ago creating our own little 25-minute videos, educational videos on subject matter, and they're up on our YouTube channel. But one of our objectives this year is to continue to expand the selection of videos on our YouTube channel. And it's interesting; those things are actually really effective because we can obviously count the number of times they're viewed, and it's really remarkable how much uptake those have had. One thing I'd like to mention also is that the BCN is part of a network of 50 locations in Ontario, all small business enterprise centers. And of course, you guys may be familiar with the one you have in Quinte. But these centers about a year and a half ago, before COVID, really started working together and leveraging common expertise within the group. And we've launched a common website now that groups all of our expertise together, and we'll soon be able to have access to more than 50 educational videos, learning tools. So all that information within that network is all going to be available to business owners in Northumberland, which I think is fabulous. So just a few highlights from the last 12 months. So certainly some great things are happening. One of our key programs we've been delivering in the last 7 months is our Digital Northumberland program. And this really was to help create and enhance websites, social media for individual businesses. And the program itself, we actually provided them with an assessment of their website and their social media. So we hired somebody on the back end to go and review their social media. And then they received a report. In that report, it also recommended some actions and some things that they may want to consider. But the great thing about that program is once they did all that, they had up to $2,500 in subsidy to go out and get the work done that they needed to get done. So we're proud to announce that 55 Northumberland businesses participated, and we granted out over $128,000 in subsidies for digital updates. So that's really remarkable. We hope to have new funding starting this month. We're going to know more about that at the end of the month. But 9 businesses from Brighton participated in the Digital Northumberland program. So thank you to Ben and Sherry for promoting that. Another highlight is our Women's Entrepreneurship program. So 25 women in the last 12 months have joined this program, and it includes online training, planning, mentoring, networking. And the neat thing is that there's 4 other regions in Ontario part of this pilot program. So all the participants in the program are joined together. There's common matching sessions online. There's roundtables. So it's really it's been a really remarkable uptake. And we just finished our 3rd intake, and we have 14 new women entrepreneurs that are going to be joining the program. So it's been a really amazing transformation. Lastly, as far as the highlights, I want to just mention, you may not be aware, but we have each year, depending on the funding of the different governments, we have an amount that we can give out in microgrants. And in the last 12 months, we've given out over $284,000 in microgrants. And our microgrants are usually smaller. They're usually sort of startup and sort of growth amounts. So they're anywhere between $2,000 and $5,000. But this wouldn't be possible, of course, without the support of the province and the federal governments who supply the funding to make all that happen. But I can say that more than $28,000 was given out to Brighton businesses, which is pretty good. So before I finish, I just want to talk about 2 specific programs. And these are ones for existing businesses. And these really, the first one has been around for 10 years, and it's our formal business coaching program. And it's really a unique coaching program. We attach a business owner with a coordinator who helps them navigate through the program and helps them with the needs of the program. But the beauty of this is that we have a number, anywhere between 10 and 20 volunteers that sit in our coaching pool. And at any given time, we can pull the expertise we need out of that pool and provide it to the business owner. And it's been a really remarkable program. The retention rate of existing businesses in this program is 87%. And you know that that number can be as low as a 50% survival rate. So we're very proud of this program. So we'd like you guys, if you have existing businesses that you believe might find this program useful, we'd certainly like you to promote it. I should mention also there's 4 Brighton businesses that have been in this program for a number of years. And I think they have really gotten a lot out of the expertise that the program provides. So the second part of this, the Faster Forward Business Success Program, which is the coaching program, is a new component. We're just going to launch it this month. We've just been piloting it for 2 months, and it's called the Summit Program. And this is a program targeted at businesses that are a little larger in scope. They have employees. They have $250,000 in sales as a minimum. But these businesses have to have the objective to grow. They want to grow to the $1 million mark. They have an objective to grow regionally or beyond. So this program involves peer-to-peer learning, targeted education, partner resources, and coaching. So we already have 11 businesses in this program that we started with the pilot, and we haven't even promoted it yet. So later this month, we're going to be doing a media release and opening it up for businesses throughout Northumberland. Another new thing that we're going to be starting in April, and Ben knows this, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Sherry yet, but we will be sending out some stuff on this next week. But we're creating a small business development working group, which is going to be made up of all the service providers in the county. So that would mean the county, the BCN, the municipalities, the chambers, the BIAs, all going to meet quarterly and talk about how we can work together, leverage best practices, and then look at some joint programming we may want to do. And it's all in support of small business. So I think that'll be a great step forward and help us all in working together better and more efficiently. So we'll have more information on that to come. On a side note, I'd just like to say that we've had a 10-year working partnership with the Brighton Chamber, Crammy Chamber, and I just want to thank Sherry for your partnership over these years. And I know you're moving on at some point soon. So I just want to recognize it's been great working with you. So just in finishing, before I take any questions, I just want to say thank you for involving me today. And we're always looking to create partnerships and work together. So at any time when you guys are considering new programs or new initiatives, please reach out. We'd love to be involved, and if we can bring resources to the table to make things work more efficiently, effectively, we want to do that. So just to all of you, all the best. Stay safe, and at any time reach out to us at becn.ca. And that's all I had for today. So I'd be happy to take any questions if anybody has any.
Thanks, Rob. I just wanted to say that back, I guess it was a year ago now, in April of 2020, Rob was really instrumental in creating the sector-specific task groups that really looked at how we were going to help assist with recovery and what mechanisms were in place. And I think Sherry sat on development. I sat on small business. So that's where that digital $2,500 grant came out of, that 10 businesses were able to get in Brighton. I think you touched on that, Rob, but that was really good exercise. We met like every 6 or 7 days for about 2 months, and I think a lot came out of those groups when the pandemic first hit. So just a service that Brighton got included on through our relationship and through the county.
And yeah, thanks, Ben. I agree that group that was formed, and Rob, thank you very much for leading us through that. The focus with those 6 groups is probably responsible for the fact that the county is focusing on getting our entire county accessible and connected. So it was really good to work with that group and see everybody focusing on at their own level towards the same direction. And I think for that same reason, I'm really excited to hear that there will be quarterly sharing meetings, because as everyone knows, there's really only one wallet here. It's the same taxpayer at every level. I know I say that a lot, Rob, but the truth is it's one taxpayer. And so if we can ensure that our partners are all working in the same direction, but not on the same thing and duplicating. Duplication can kill us. We don't have the time or the money for that. So it's wonderful to see that that is a plan for the future. And I'll make sure that you meet Laura, Rob, as soon as she starts. I'm going to let her get her feet on the ground next week, but then we're going to host a Zoom with all our partners, just basically so she can put a name to a face and see what kind of assets she has access to for helping our local businesses. I do have a question for you, Rob. You mentioned that the SBACs are, they've created a website that's common to the network. Do you have it launched? Is there a web address we can go to?
Yeah, I'd say it's still sort of behind the scenes. As soon as it's live, I'll send you the link and everything. But we've all just mentioned in our, thank you, Ben and Sherry. But one thing I see that COVID has done is it has brought us together a lot more in Northumberland. The task force that Ben talked about, and then, we all work together on this digital Northumberland. It's just, I don't know, it's brought us together. So there's one positive thing about this. And I think we, like you said, Sherry, we all realize that duplication is just no need for it. If we're all working together at the table together, we can do things better together. So I think that's really helped. And the provincial-wide initiative is really exciting because, you think about that, sometimes we create educational webinars and things and videos, and maybe the chambers do locally, and maybe even a municipality does. But now there's going to be like a pool of like 50 of these videos that we're all going to have access to. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I like this whole sort of the way we seem to be moving forward is working together. So the small working group for small business, the new tourism strategy that's been there was a meeting last week Ben was at. I mean, this is all efforts about us starting to work together better. And it's I think it's really good. So again, thanks everybody for having me. And please, I mean it, if you guys are thinking about new initiatives, new projects, new ideas, like we'd love to be part of it. So just please keep us in mind.
Thanks very much, Rob. Are there any other questions, Emily?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Rob a question, please. I just missed the few details on the last initiative that you spoke about that included small businesses, Rob.
Sure.
Our DBIA is going through some new administration as well at present. I don't know if you have new contact information, but if I could forward that to you. Like I said, we seem to be have missed a bit of communication from both the county and other maybe programs. So if we can, if I can forward that to you so that our new admin can connect and share some more information. I'll forward it to you, and then you could add her to your mailing list. Ashley,
thank
George.
you. Yeah, we want to have everybody included, and I apologize if that's slipped between the cracks. I think when we think of the digital Main Street and the digital Northumberland, I think that the BIA was working, I think, with Trenton, so maybe that's why there was a little bit of disconnect. But no, we want everybody to be part of this and feel included. So please send me the contact info, and I'll make sure that they're included. Yeah.
Like I said, there's been a change, so we're hoping that kind of improves some of the, like I said, the cracks that we've been falling through of late. So I'll forward that information to you. Thanks, Rob.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions for Rob? Ron, I think you're muted.
Hi, Rob. Thanks. Good presentation. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
I think everything you're doing is fantastic, and I've got to dig into some of all those videos and get on your website a little more often to see what's going on. We rely on Ben for all that, but I think we're going to get deeper into that. I think the thing we want to do in Brighton is to encourage more commercial business. Let's just put it that way. you know, when we're talking tourism, we're talking on that, but we need services for people. We need services in health. We need services in even retail for that matter. Like we do have nice local retail, but I think we still need to like to keep people at home, not necessarily travel to Coburg for all their needs or go to Belleville for all their needs. So, and people like to stay close to home anyhow nowadays. So what is the county, or what's your involvement in working to, with Brighton growing so fast and having those needs, and if the needs aren't there now, they're certainly going to be there within 5 years, or let's say even 10 if be realistic, but the needs for all these services and growth of these services is going to be there. What are we doing to focus on planning for that, for a community like Brighton? It's becoming a small city. When you think of it that way, a city without services, a city without retail. It has nice family retail, but it's still going to need that punch. That I see Coburg's getting a huge punch. They're getting, every time you turn around, there's another announcement of a development, whether it's housing, whether it's retail, whether it's accommodations. And I see a lot of focus of, and the wallet seems to be a little bit dropping out of the pocket in that part of the county. So I think I'm just bringing this up because it irritates me that we just need to. And I'm not talking about today at the shovel in the ground. We talked about shovel in the ground, but I'm talking about we need to have that scope of plan of what's going to happen with our community and how can we get it moving without just talking about it. So is there anything in your area that can be involved in the discussion more, or not just discussion, action at the county level, or and we're dealing with the province, and we're dealing with our own municipalities, and so we're dealing with the wallet as been said. Do you get my drift on that?
Yeah. Well, thanks. Well, let me first say my sort of area here is small business development. So I certainly can comment to you on a little bit about growth and development, and so wanting to support your businesses. So I think I know we have a number of strong programming. Then I guess one of the negative parts of it is that not everybody knows, and not all the business owners know of our programming, and that there's a few reasons for that. In the end of the day, we just don't have a lot of money to promote them. So I think, Ron, as far as the support of businesses and your business community growing, the programs do exist either from us or from our partners to the east, right? So I think promoting the services to your businesses, I think is a good first move. When we talk about overall development and let's say attracting new business to your municipality, I'm not really the one to speak to that, but I know that we have a person at the county, and that when any new inquiry comes in from external, our person here will funnel that back to the municipalities. And Ben knows this, that from time to time, TJ here, our investment and traction person, as soon as we have an inquiry, it's sent out to the individual municipalities to see who might be interested in whatever the opportunity is. And a lot of times, the people inquiring have specific sort of requirements. Either it could be size, is it a building that already exists, is there bylaw requirements, water, power. So that's how, Ron, we sort of distribute those opportunities out. But I know that the county is as far as an investment attraction, quite willing to work with you guys, and however we can. So it's an open door.
Thank you. I just like to keep that momentum out there.
Yeah.
One more quick question. Can I ask one more quick question? Sorry, I know I've already had a turn. You talked about the Summit program, your new program for the larger businesses entering business success. That was sales of 250,000, wanting to scale to 1 million. Do we have any of our local businesses currently involved in your program? Or is that the 11 pilot companies are not Brighton, Grammy?
I'm just thinking, yeah, hasn't been launched. We were just using 11 business owners to help make sure we have the program right.
Okay.
I know we invited a couple of Brighton businesses, but so far there isn't anybody who signed up. But I'm going to provide you with that, Sherry and Ben, who's all the information on the program. We'd love it for you guys to help promote it. And yeah, I think it's really going to be special because the business owners at that level can share between themselves their experiences and their challenges and their expertise, which is really what they want. So I think it's going to be a powerful program. So when we get ready to launch, I'm going to send you guys more information. And yes, we'd love it if you could promote it to Brighton businesses.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay. So are there any other questions for Rob? Okay, well, I would really like to thank you, Rob, for coming in and giving us all this information. It ties into something that I want to bring up under new business anyway. So it's some great programs that you have underway now. And I guess hopefully we'll see you again and with any new programs that you have. And thank you again for coming and bringing us your messaging today.
Okay, my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me and have me back anytime. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Rob.
Okay, bye-bye.
Talk soon.
Okay, so I guess we need to, that the delegation from Rob Day be received right now. We'd need a motion and a seconder for that. Councillor Raleigh and Sherry, all in favor? Okay, thank you. And I guess we'll go on to Ben's municipal update right now. Ben?
Sorry, just trying to keep track of these minutes. Yeah, lots going on. I guess I'll start with First Impressions program. I know with Trevor being here last meeting, Trevor Crow from OMAFRA, he talked about the First Impressions program and how what the opportunities that can come out of that are. And I've been part of those programs, and certainly they do offer some quick wins and some visionary exercises. Trent Lakes is one of the only communities somewhat locally that has expressed an interest in this program. I think there's a lot of communities that are interested that are just sort of waiting out COVID before like moving around to different communities. Trent Lakes basically is a municipality that covers kind of the northern Peterborough County region, and kind of the community they would be looking at pinpointing would be Buckhorn. So certainly very easy to navigate that as a day trip. If this committee wanted to take that on or whatever, or if you bring other volunteers from the DBIA, from the chamber, if there's businesses that want to take part in it, if there's other volunteers in the community that would want to be part of it, we could go a lot of different ways with it. We are, it looks like, heading into another lockdown, this month. So my recommendation would be to hold off and keep this on our pulse for the summer and hope that June, July, August bring some better times and easier times to move around in. But I think it's doable this year for sure. We just kind of got to wait and see what the health unit's telling us to do. I think we're actually probably part of the same health unit as Buckhorn, but we have to double check on that. We have to decide if we want to confirm it. I have a package of paperwork I have to fill out. It's pretty extensive. There's 3 categories of these FICE programs, one being tourism approach, there's a downtown approach, and then there's a full picture, they call it, approach. So my recommendation would be to go with the full picture, get them moving around the entire community. If they come in the summer, they're going to get that tourism visitor feel. There's no way they're going to miss the downtown. And then we want them out in the industrial areas. We want them out in the residential areas, checking out what our subdivisions look like, what our quality of life looks like. We want them out in the rural. So that would be my recommendation. Then we got to decide who the lead on this is. The mayor just let us know that Trent Lakes is in the Peterborough Health Unit, so that's good. So it might add some confusion in moving around unless restrictions ease up a bit. We can make the chamber the lead. We can make the municipality the lead. Do I have the capacity to take this on? Probably. But there's nothing saying I absolutely have to. So just to keep that in the back of your mind. Yeah, that's kind of the first impressions program, where we are with that.
Can I ask a question? Can I make a comment on that, Ben? Sorry.
Sure.
I totally agree with you on the full scope one. That's the only one I've ever participated in. And the things that we want to do in Brighton would require that kind of a deep look. They actually look at signage and trails and all the kinds of things that we are wanting as a community to fix, I guess we'll say, or update. Let's say update. So I think that's the way to go. I agree with you there. And if the municipality were to take the lead, which is, I think, the correct way for that to happen, there's no reason why the chamber can't be fully engaged and assist with that. So I know manpower is a question for everybody, woman power, but we can
person power.
Person power, thank you. Yeah, I think it's right for the municipality to take the lead, and for sure the chamber will support that.
Yeah, okay. So I've got a little bit more to work on, send into Trevor, but it looks like we're kind of moving ahead as long as health restrictions let us. So I would like to see everyone in our committee here, venture out there. It's something you can do on your own time. If a weekend is better for you, you can go on a weekend. If a weekday is better, if an evening is better, if you're going sort of up that way anyway and you stop in for lunch and have a 1-2 hour visit, I'm sure that would count. But there is a little bit of there is a little bit of like homework to it. So you kind of got to keep that in mind and making sure that you have that you've kind of checked all your boxes and checked out all the things that the program wants you to. So we could even get in pairs or whatever the health units allow us to do, and go as a group as well. But I don't know, certainly with everyone having different degrees of flexibility and different degrees of what they want to look for, going on your own or on your own time probably makes the most sense. But
I'm happy to help with that too.
Sorry?
Go ahead, Sarah.
I just wanted to butt in again and say, when we participated in it, there was a training session prior to venturing out. There's actually a formal set of questions that you need to respond to make sure that you're giving full feedback to the community that we're exchanging with. And we all went in one day in different cars, but basically it was a one-day snapshot of that community. So I don't know, I guess that flexibility would be good to have during COVID, but you do want it to all be nearly the same time. And then at the end of the process, their community group comes and presents back to us. So I don't think we want to spread it out too much, but we do want to make sure that people get that formal training from OMAFRA before we go do it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, lots of stuff to iron out, but just kind of updating the group as to where we are now.
Can I go ahead? May I add something?
Yes, of course.
Am I not muted? Am I?
Nope.
Man, I think it's a great idea. I think it's something, whether it's Buckhorn or anywhere else, but I think it's something we should really plan to even put a tentative schedule or a date to it. And I think we should, and we need to really wait until all this COVID stuff's out of the way. Is to feel good and that we could actually go. I think do it similar to what been suggested, that we actually do it as a group, and we meet them as a group, and it's almost like a fam trip. I don't mean we're staying overnight or anything, but it's something that we need to go in and focus on together and get the same information together at the same time, and then do it that way. For us all to trip around individually and come back with different impressions and different, it can be good. You're getting different perspectives, but it's the focus can fall off too. So I would like to see a schedule or tentatively schedule a plan for the fall, but it may not happen that soon because of what we're just got into and where we're going for the next month. And the fall is going to come really quick. So this may be something we do, and I don't suggest the winter, but it's a next spring initiative or something like that. But at least the planning is there. I think it's great. I think and it sounds like you have a lot of work to do, and then we all have a lot of work. We all need to know what we're looking for, what we're going to be doing, and then there's the follow up. So, yeah, I'd say we should show that we're interested and want to take part. You make communication with Buckhorn that we're on the edge of it. But that's my opinion. That we should have set something even today, not a date, but a September or a month that we are focusing on trying to do this, and then try to do it as a group. We're not a large group, so we should be able to figure this out.
Because I think once we have our training and so on, we'll be able to either do it in a group or individually. But I agree that COVID needs to be behind us at least somewhat, because a lot of the businesses that we might be looking for or services might not even be available at that time. So we certainly have to wait until we're mostly out of the woods on this. So I think it's a great idea to get in the queue and say, yes, we'll do it. And then I'm happy to help on this one. I think it's a great assessment tool, and I look forward to it. So any more, Ben?
No, that's good on that. I'll just share my screen here. Let me know when you can see that.
Yep.
Okay, so this is sort of some policy we've put together for the Brownfield CIP incentive program, and pretty draft as well. And I'll talk further a little bit more, but so we're looking at something like an environmental assessment phase 2 rebate program up to $10,000 or 50%, whichever is less. So if a company needs to remediate, a developer needs to remediate, they could be rebated with 50% of the cost of their environmental assessment, or up to $10,000. Basically the easiest way to kind of describe that one. So pretty basic incentive there, but certainly worthy to the developer. Incremental property tax deduction program. So this would be a rebate. Rebates will equal to a percentage of the municipal tax increment for a maximum period of 5 years. So this has nothing to do with education. It's all the municipal portion that would be rebated. So in a maximum of 5% of 5 years that this would occur. So you're getting a tax deduction as a developer for 5 years, and you have to show that your development is complete before the deduction, before the rebate can take place. So lots of requirements to qualify for it, but certainly another incentive that we're looking at. And then we have building permit rebates. So the developer may apply for a rebate on building permits for lands that require remediation. The rebate would be equivalent to 50%, and the maximum be $25,000. So certainly lots of eligible costs associated with that. And there'll be some conditions surrounding that to ensure that the developer is following through on their remediation and into their development project. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys that we've been working on. I have shown our planning department, and I've had some soft conversations with our finance department on how this would work. The idea is to get this through the official plan process and all the different planning tape we've got to get through, and then be able to budget for this when we start the budget process, whether that's in the fall of 2021 or if we go back to the 2022 if we start in the winter of 2022, I'm not sure, but the idea will be to budget for this so we can take applications starting in 2022. Something that came out of our strategic plan refresh meeting the last couple of weeks was that council would like to see affordable housing CIP and downtown revitalization CIP tied into this. So I've got to add in those types of incentives and put this all together as one package. I'm very familiar with downtown incentives. Worked on a program in Quinte West that dealt with things like facade improvements, signage improvements, landscape design improvements, interior design costs. So all those types of incentives, and it was a really popular program. If you're familiar with Quinte West, like the Tomaso's kind of area, a lot of those businesses have all taken advantage of that program, and it's really enhanced curb appeal. And it was open in Frankfurt too. There's a lot of businesses that have taken it on in Frankfurt too. So a little bit more policy to write there. The goal is to have something in front of council, late fall, but certainly a little bit more work to do. So we'll see where that goes. Any questions on the CIP?
Yeah, is there anything that this committee, did you want us to review that document and pass on any comments, or wait until you get the affordable housing and the downtown portions added as well? I think what I'll do now that came out of the meeting just on Monday night, I think what I'll do is start putting together policy and incentives ideas surrounding those two topics, and then I'll send it out as a full package here in probably a couple more weeks. Okay. Right.
Quick question. Oh, I'm muted.
Oh, no.
Oh, you're good.
Quick question. You talked about affordable housing CIP and downtown CIP. Is this all one CIP with multiple moving parts then?
Yeah, that's right. So the developer, the business owner, whatever the case may be, can pick the incentive program that works for them.
And more than one?
Well, if you're a brownfield CIP and you're not located in the downtown DBIA core, then you're not going to qualify for the downtown revitalization one. If you're a developer that is developing a brownfield for affordable housing, then yeah, you'd be eligible for both.
Sorry, I don't have my screen. I don't have my screen on because otherwise you all freeze up on me. My internet's being sketchy. So pardon me, Madam Chair, as I jump in. But we do have a brownfield in our downtown. So in theory, a developer could, for that brownfield, could ask for all three. And if they qualified, we would give them all three. Okay. This is really about cleaning up some space and making Brighton beautiful again. Or that's not fair. Making Brighton more beautiful than it is now.
That's better. That's better.
Careful now. May I add something? May I say something? I just recently heard where Belleville, it's always good to look at your neighbors to see what they're up to, right? And they're putting right this week, they're putting a large initiative together with their local developers and giving them preparing incentives to give to them, similar to what you're talking about, Ben, to anyone, to build more affordable apartments, rentals. And I think that's smart. They have a lot of apartments, we don't, but apartments may be the only way that's affordable going forward here if things keep going the way they are. So the thinking should be we should be thinking about what an affordable house might be out of the story for what people are talking about, what is affordable. But an apartment may be more affordable. And and if there's going to be movement with people, whether it's seniors moving into apartments rather than moving into a senior's residence or a senior's home, they go the next route to an apartment, and then they go to the senior's residence, whatever. But I think that's a good idea. And if you go to your local developers who have the land and may with an incentive, it takes one to start, and they may jump at that. And I'm not talking big high rises here either. We're talking 3, and we can review the height restrictions, but 3-4 stories, whatever, would be appropriate for Brighton. And we may need more. And we were talking about public housing. We were talking about all different types of affordable housing. But I think that's something we could put together pretty quick, that we deal right now with our local developers who have the land or will have the land, because I know they all have big plans. And maybe there'll be some cooperation between building single homes and multi-use homes. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, I believe the term affordable housing encapsulates apartment buildings too. It's not just standalone homes. So certainly we'll be open to that in the program.
My point is that all this takes time, and then we're talking about 2022 for a lot of these and that's all good. That's all good planning and that's not far off. And we've got COVID to deal with, so we can do all of this planning and all this during this time. But I'm trying to shake it up, that we put something together that it moves a little quicker. And if it was just that one little piece of the whole plan, that we work with what we've got now, and work with the developers now, and we need a spokesperson for that group or to that group, and I don't know the policies and all that. That's your baby. But we need the policies in place in a quicker in that regard, so we can do that. So if we wanted to push on that in the next few months, put an announcement out, we mean business. We need you to step up your plans. We would need to get all these plans, these policies and everything in place a little quicker.
Can I just
I don't mean to put more pressure on you or our staff, but these are things that we need to be working on, I think.
I just want to add to what Ron is saying. I'm sorry, I'm butting in too, but in reviewing the strategic planning YouTube posts, those long meetings that you folks all attended, thank you very much. That you were also discussing, I sat through it, but I had a cup of coffee and even a drink. But the municipality or the council was talking about looking at municipal properties as a potential partnership with the county to do something like this. And I totally agree that we have to look at multi-units. I mean, the cost of building materials, it's not very likely that you're going to get an affordable house, but it is very likely that we can get affordable units for people. Maybe we don't have to have this policy in place tomorrow, but certainly our building department that issues the permits should be brought up to speed so that when they're in discussions with developers, because let's face it, you're not doing anything without a permit. So if the planning department and the building department are on board and understand that this policy is coming, they'll be able to give our developers a heads up so that they can plan their timelines to match with whatever funding they might qualify for. I mean, look what happened over at Mason Flats. Jim and Christine renovated that place and they were all rented rapidly. So we don't have any place in Brighton. We do need to think about that. And I think if we don't have to do a big presser ban, we don't have to get out there and talk to all the developers. But if the building and planning department is aware that this is something that this committee is working on, I think that would cover us. I don't know.
Thanks, Sherry. I think we do need to talk to the, I think we need to talk to the developers. We need to talk to as many people as we can within the community or outside the community if you want this to happen, because everybody's looking, is now getting smarter and are moving. And when I said earlier, you look down what's going on in the west of us in Coburg and Port Hope, there are people that are out there that are hustling to get these type of developments, whether it's commercial, whether it's a housing. Apartments are going up like crazy in those areas as well. So I think I'm just saying we can't just have it in our binder and be ready for them to call. We need to call them.
Yeah, just to confirm, this is in my yearly in the work plan for this year. So it is getting done, and it's being worked on between myself, planning, and finance. For the incentives to take place, they have to be in writing, in policy, and pass through the process, which takes several months. So we can't just call out to the developers in the community and say we're putting together an incentive program and you can pick up on them tomorrow. They have to be in policy, and go through the proper channel for that to happen. So that'll all happen throughout the process, and we'll try to do it as quick as we can. But in the strategic plan, it is to get it complete by sometime late 2021, and we'll get it ready to go for 2022.
Okay.
So anything else in your report, Ben?
I know you were going to ask about branding and where that, we sort of, at the meeting we had with Doug, we sort of concluded that we would let the strategic plan refresh happen and see where it went. And it did not come up. It is not a priority right now. So I think we'll kind of leave it on the back burner and maybe we can have some side meetings with Pecuniary throughout this, but I believe it's something that's going to come up maybe in the next term of council or something.
So at the very least, are we able to remove the words when the past meets the future or whatever on the entrance signs to the, it's only a matter of paint, to remove that from the entrance signs to the municipality? Or is it, if they want to just keep status quo for now?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Let that go. Yeah.
I'm going to say status quo for now.
Okay.
As Ben noted, it hasn't come up, but so we have two entrance signs as you come in. You have the entrance signs from the old town boundary, the urban area, and then the entrance signs when you enter the actual boundary of the municipality. So coming along Highway 2, I'm talking County Road 2, I'm talking about at Boundary Road on the west end and Walt Street on the east end. Those don't have that logo, that whatever it is, that
Tagline.
That tagline. It's only when you enter the former town boundary at roughly Cheer Farms and the arena, or no, the high school.
Yeah.
That's where you see them when you enter. So we fixed those up last term of council. I had argued that we probably shouldn't fix those old town boundary ones up because that's no longer the entrance to the municipality. Anyway, that doesn't matter what I argued back then. They're there, and until such time as the municipality goes through a rebranding, I think we should just let sleeping dogs lie.
So I had two other questions, Ben. Are you finished with your report? These questions are for you. Ben?
Yeah, fire away.
So the first one was the natural gas in the business park. Has that come to anything?
Yeah, well, I've been dealing with Enbridge, how they operate their design, and their business model is an application system. So any of our developers that have agreed to purchase land, and we've signed off on all the agreement of purchase and sale process. And once they get into site plan design, we encourage them to do their application to Enbridge. And the more interest and the more economic viability we can show Enbridge, the quicker they're going to be in there installing.
Okay. Okay. And the last question I had for you was about the discussion we had last time about adding an agricultural person onto our committee, or at least as a resource if we know we're going to be talking about ag issues. So any further thoughts on that?
Yep, those minutes need to get into council where the motion will, I guess, formally go through the public process. And at that point, we can do a application for a agricultural or rural member, however we want to phrase it, to get someone on here.
Okay. Because it doesn't have to be a change in the structure of the committee if it's a resource person. You know, if that's going to get in the way of adding a resource person to the committee, then we can just, or another full person, you know, we could just have it as a resource person.
Yeah, we could operate it like that and sort of use our connections to find someone of the agricultural community to kind of come in like we do the rest of our partners,
right,
and have them come in every 3 or 4 or 5 meetings and do a little update on what's going on in the agricultural end of things. That might be a little easier. The one thing about an appointment is that they're permanently here, and that's a permanent fixture in the committee. So
all right, so and that will probably lead me to the next question I have. The delegations that we've been having, are we going to continue to have them each meeting, or are we going to have them every now and then as we see fit? Or
it's whatever the committee chooses. My vision on that note was to have someone come in every meeting and continue this wonderful information share that we've started. And once we get to a point where we've heard from everyone, we can then get back through the fold and have opportunity to hear them again for a second time in a year, or whatever the case may be. But sounds to me like maybe our next delegation should be from someone in the agricultural business. Maybe it's someone from the Codrington Farmers Market next time.
Or the Northumberland OFA. That would be a good one.
Right.
What? Okay.
Ontario Farmers Association, I believe, is.
Yeah, Ontario Federation of Agriculture. They have a
Federation of
Agriculture. The Northumberland chapter.
Can I make a comment on that?
yeah.
You spoke about maybe just using a representative from the agricultural community as a resource. I would like to see someone on the committee from the agricultural community. As far as I think, if we just see them now and again, they're going to get lost in the whole scope of everything that we're doing. And I think, you know, with the communities, with the Codrington Farmers Market and the different, you know, the different producers that we see of late. I mean, it seems to be a growing community for us as well. And I instead of just having a once in a while kind of representation, I would like to see a representative on the committee.
Okay, so is there anything else, Ben, that you wanted to include in your report, or will we move on?
No, I think I've talked enough.
Right, okay, thanks, Ben. Megan isn't here. Councillor Rowley, did you have anything to bring from the DBIA?
Not a whole lot, Libby, but I can just say, you know, with the municipality right now, we are still working on our Casey's Lane project. So DBIA is moving along. I'm guessing that Megan's not here because I think she's opening her ice cream shop today. I think it's grand opening day for a few things, so she might be getting ready for that. I'm not sure. But yeah, we've our last meeting, there was of course a lot of you know, COVID discussions. You know, there's still a lot of frustration and concern. So I'm wondering what this new lockdown, as we see it, is going to, how it's going to affect some of our downtown folks. So that'll be a big concern. I think I'll spend a little bit of time on the street this weekend if it's if I'm allowed to. And yeah, other than that, we're just yeah, just struggling along as far as DBIA goes. But like I said, our big project is beautification, and once again working with the Public Works and with Ben as we filled out an MAFRA application to get some stuff done to connect Main Street a little farther south to the Henderson development off Prince Edward Street, and kind of see if we can get linkages a little bit better. So that's it for now. Oh, and for those who want to know, public bathrooms in town are open. Hallelujah. It's a good thing. We can promote that.
Okay, so thank you. Thanks very much. Sherry, did you have anything to add to what you've already told us about the structure of the new person and your programming and so on?
Sure. Thank you very much for opening the downtown bathrooms. Let me start with that. You're making a lot of people very happy because they've been turning away people who need to use the powder room while they're downtown. So that's great. Yeah, so lots of things happening at the chamber in terms of change. We had our annual general meeting last week. Thank you, Mayor Ostrander, for the update you gave us. Everyone appreciated it. We have a new board of directors and a new president coming into the chamber. So the existing board stays. They're all leaving their name forward. We're also being joined by Dr. Amanda May, that owns Northumberland Health and Wellness right across the street from the municipal office. And Faith Pickles, who's the business account manager for the Royal Bank. So those are our two new directors coming on board. And our new president is Bobby Wright. She owns the Birdhouse and it's moved to the main street now. So she's DBIA as well. Bobby's a great business person. She's done some wonderful things with her own business. And I think she's going to be a really good leader for that board. I'm looking forward to see what happens with her at the helm. In addition to having that new board and a new leader for the board, we also have a new staff person coming on to the chamber. Laura Turney comes with experience in business administration, is basically her university degree, and she has a specialty in accounting. So both of those things are really good for the chamber. And she has work experience with the Family Resource Center at the Air Base, as well as Quinte West DBIA. So she's done some event planning. She's young and energetic. I'm looking forward to meeting her next week. I haven't met her yet, but her references were solid and she looks really good on paper. So I'm excited to be bringing her to the community. We will plan a Zoom meeting to introduce her to our partners so that the chamber can continue to be a good partner for the municipality as well. And I will very likely be with her at the next meeting of this group, just as a support person. I'm basically been given the permission to assist her in getting on her feet. So I think in the next weeks or months, we're going to see her get up and running. So that's all the new stuff at the chamber. I have one old thing that I'm still working on, and that's the Brighton Map. There's been a change over at Brighton Digital Archives, it seems like Fletch is no longer my contact and that Ralph De Jong is my contact to get photos for the historical sites for that map. If I have an email address and I'm getting to the point where I feel like I might be badgering Ralph. If anybody in this group knows Ralph or knows how I might further reach out to him, I would like to at least have a connection. Can anyone help me with that?
Do you have an email?
I do.
Okay.
I've sent him a couple of emails. I'm just not hearing anything back yet.
He's usually pretty prompt. I know I've been emailing with him this last week or two too. I wonder if you've been filed under junk or something, Sherry. I think I might have a phone number.
That would be helpful.
I will send that to you without making it public here. Okay.
Thank you, Emily. I just want to reach out and see. I mean, are they still on board, or do I have to look somewhere else? Basically, my question. Thank you.
I have a number. I'll send it to you.
Thanks.
May I ask a question or maybe make a suggestion?
Yes.
Not just to you, Sherry, but just to the group, or to Ben, maybe particularly. I'm not sure if we can. Would it be wise for both the DBIA and the chamber to share their monthly minutes once they're approved, as far as you get maybe all of the updates instead of just a couple of verbal bullet points? Is that something that these committees are like? Are we allowed to share that kind of information between committees? I'm not sure if that's all kosher or whatever. Maybe Mayor, you can answer that question.
Oh, the DBIA minutes should be public because the DBIA is a taxpayer-funded organization.
Right.
As for the chamber minutes, that would be entirely up to the chamber board of directors if they're willing to share.
I don't know.
So that would have to be a chamber.
I'll be honest, the minutes are basically motions and seconds, and I don't know how much detail you would get out of them, but yeah, you're right, Brian. It would be up to the board of directors whether or not they want to publish them.
Okay. I'm just saying I know with the DBIA, I know they are public and we get them through council, but I would just wonder, because usually we do have a lot of bullet points, so it would maybe make it easier for Megan or like myself today to kind of scan through to see what our updates are.
So perhaps Mr. Hagerman, once the DBIA minutes are passed are received by council, they could be brought to this committee just for information.
Sure.
Is there anything else, Sherry?
No, I really just need some help connecting with Ralph.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you at the next meeting with Laura.
Yes.
Okay, so this is where new business pops in, I guess. So what I wanted to bring up under this is just a thought to get your thoughts as to doing something in a formal way in the newspaper about what is happening in Brighton from a business perspective. Now, I'm not suggesting that this be every time, but maybe every couple of weeks or once a month. Getting information about, for example, some of the programs that some of our delegations are telling us about to let businesses know, like what's happening in the industrial park. Say if we got the natural gas, that's something that would be good to let everybody know about, or even the CIP program when that is approved as well. It will accomplish a couple of things, I think, getting the information out, but also to let the business community know that we're on top of things and we're doing, doing things on their behalf. I know that's a little bit of work. I'm happy to help with that, but I was just wondering what your thoughts were on sort of a regular, business column in the newspaper. Not a big one, just something that has some information for businesses. Any thoughts?
I got something. I think that's a good idea. It's like I think it was done in the past, if I recall, way back with the Brighton Independent when it was flourishing with information. Who would prepare that? Who would write that? And we don't need to add more on Ben. But I think that's a good idea. It could. One thing we do have, and people got to warm up to it a little better. It's the Beacon magazine that comes out quarterly. It is quarterly, right? And it's well done. It's and there's information. Ben, I know you put a big report in there. It might not be as current because it's quarterly. It might not be a weekly information, but what we're working on isn't weekly work anyhow. It's all planning ahead and trying to develop things. But so I think it's the Beacon's very young yet, and if more people would warm up, there's a lot of good information in that. As far as something in the Brighton paper, or maybe we can get it in the Northumberland News. So they have columnists as well. Maybe we can have somebody representing Brighton, and so it ends up in the big picture, not in Northumberland picture as well, not just local. It's important for us and local to know what's going on, but it's important that we spread the good word a little further too. So who's going to do all that? Who can put that together, and who can be the spokesman? The mayor. Anyway.
The information would have to come from Ben's department, because you are the holder of all of that information. I don't mean for this to sound like it's a big deal and you're writing a whole page or anything. It's just a little article or a column or something that says, this is, some information. If you need any more, contact Ben, just to open those lines of communication. It's just a thought.
Yeah, we're doing, we've got a newsletter up and running. Sherry does a newsletter. We've got the Brighton Beacon. We're very engaged on social media now. We've got our radio campaign on oldies. Natalie Hamilton is kind of my go-to, and who I discuss editorial stuff with. So if we're doing something a little more consistently, whether it's monthly, bi-weekly, I don't know. I would be willing to expect that they'll want to put together some sort of package for that monetarily, but certainly something I can investigate.
I was thinking of asking them to give you this space for nothing, but
with all the
advertising
we spend, we keep them going. Eh? So I think this is editorial. It's sort of submitting a press release. If they want to put it in, that's fine. They put it in. If they don't want to put it in, they don't have to. But I think we're a pretty big player with the Brighton Independent, it's so to speak. So I don't think they would resist by saying here's an invoice. I don't think they're going to do that.
Are there any other questions?
I just need to make a quick statement. The Brighton Beacon is published by the company that I work for, Marifol, and that puts me in a conflict of interest. So I will declare my conflict of interest for the sake of this meeting. There's no pecuniary discussion, so I won't recuse myself from the meeting, but for the sake of the public, I need to let everyone know that. Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, Natalie Hamilton also reports on council. Does she come to the council meetings as well? Yes. And all of the work that we do here ends up at the council meeting. Yes?
Well.
Yeah, minutes go. We're also on YouTube. So, we're getting some views there as well. Okay.
So I wonder if, highlighting what we do at the council meetings might draw her attention to it. I think articles in the newspaper, I guess I think of them more as, when we're launching our community improvement plan, we really want to get the word out there and let people know that that's happening. So I guess I think of it as specific times. I don't know. Instead of just regular inserts, I feel like it would get more attention if you just focus on specific things. When, for example, when you do the first impression community exchange, obviously you need a public consultation. You need the public to be aware of where all those ideas came from. So you want that out in the paper. Is that what you're thinking, Libby? That you want?
I just think there's enough going on here that there could be items of interest to businesses, like I say, with the dual purpose to inform them, but also to assure them that things are moving along within the municipal environment with them in mind, and that there are cool things happening, and we have good programs, and we have the first impression, and we do have the CIP, and just if there is something, not before it's ready, but something that is newsworthy, maybe it isn't a regular thing, but I certainly think on a monthly basis that there would be enough to talk about and to let people know, especially in these times, if there are any assistance programs or anything like that, that we would be aware of through some of our delegations and through the contacts that Ben has. It's just a thought, so we can think on it, and we can talk about it next time, or if there are any other comments now, that'd be great.
No, I think it's a good idea. I think to put it out there every week would be a challenge.
Yeah.
But if it was a monthly column, and things like what we heard today from Rob, that could be a feature of this month's. There's a lot of good information he provided us, but also there's the business community would love, if they haven't heard what he was talking about. This is just another way of recapping of what's out there for them and the progress. To hear that there's 10 businesses in our town that actually take advantage of opportunities like that is great. 10 out of 54 ain't bad. So, and then there's other programs there. You mentioned another 4 involved in something long time, been involved with them. So with all the movement going on now, and with after COVID, with businesses changing hands and people looking for opportunities in business, new people coming to town and looking to set up small business, live here, but also work here. And they have the resources to drop it into our community in the way of a small business. I think, yeah, so putting this little information out there once a month, just another, I know we have so many forms of it, but people keep saying, I don't get enough. Where do you hear about this? How do I know about this? And we all hear that. So here's some more information. So, and then that's for the people that aren't online. That's for the people that can't go to a website. That's for the people that, because you're doing a great job, Ben, as far as keeping people informed on multimedia. Short and sweet, and they can go to our website to get more information, and that's important that's up to date, and we're doing better there all the time too. So once a month I'd say fine, and let's not waste more time on it. It's probably, we just need somebody to drop it in there and talk to, maybe Natalie can filter it through the editorial section of the paper.
Okay, well, we'll leave that with, if there's no other comments on that, then we'll leave it with Ben to sort through as to whether this is something that might help. Okay, all right. So is there any other new business? Most people are muted right now, so if you are going to speak,
Maybe the mayor has something.
Where is he?
I see a snowman.
Yeah. All right, Ben.
Did you expect me to have something, Councillor Anderson?
Oh, I always like to hear something.
I have nothing further to add, Madam Chair.
Okay, if there's no further business, is there any correspondence, Ben, or any of the municipal folks? Any correspondence for us? No. Then I guess we would decide the next meeting date, which would be May the 6th. That sound right, Ben?
I was actually thinking about that. We are required to just meet 6 times a year minimum.
Okay.
We've already done 4. We're heading into a month-long lockdown. I was thinking, what if we skip a month, go first week of June, and by then there's going to be a lot more to talk about from a recovery standpoint. We're going to be entering the tourism season. I'm going to have a summer student by that point that you can meet. Sherry's replacement will be up and running, and things just might be a little bit more fulsome rather than meeting in 3.5, 4 weeks from now and talking about how our lockdown went. So that would still give us 5 meetings in the first 6 months of the year. So that's a recommendation I had. If the group wants to continue first week of May, that's fine too. It just might be a little more fulsome if we meet in another 8 weeks or so.
So my thought on that is that that's fine, but we probably will have a lot to talk about then. So I would not schedule a delegation for that meeting, just sort of a catch up with everybody and see what's going on at that point. How does that sound?
I would think the same thing,
That's
Libby.
a great idea.
That we do that. I'm sure if there is something that's very important between now and the first week of June, Ben will let us know anyway. So, but I'm good with waiting till June.
June 3rd then. So the next is motion to adjourn.
All right.
I'm sure you got one more motion in here. Ron, okay. Second?
Sure.
Okay, Sherry, all in favor? Okay, everyone, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good first of April.
Bye-bye. Happy Easter.
Thanks,
Yeah,
everyone.
happy
Happy
Easter.
Easter.
Stay safe, everyone.